Hi BookTube, it's Missy. So I haven't talked to you guys about reading Nos4R2. I mean, I have a little bit in various like Friday reads and other videos. I am currently probably about 60% in to the story, and oh my gosh, it's just so good, and at the same time super horrible, and it's freaky, and I keep like turning it off because I'm listening to it in the car, and I keep turning it off because I'm so scared what's going to happen next. And I'm at this point where I'm just beyond, I'm done. Like, I'm not gonna like stop reading it obviously, but I'm just like so scared right now to continue on with the story, and I'm just dying. I'm dying, and I turned it off like halfway home today from work because I just couldn't watch it. I couldn't listen to it anymore. I was too freaked out. And so I'll try again tomorrow morning. But oh, the anxiety that I had while listening to the part that I'm at chapter 59, but 58 was really difficult to listen to. It was super, super scary, very like graphic and bad, and yeah, so tomorrow's gonna be chapter 59, and I'm hoping that Vic conquers Charlie Manx, because that jerk needs to be exterminated, I tell you what. Okay, so currently I am on chapter 100 of Nos4R2. I know that there's 108 chapters. I don't know if I'll have it finished by tomorrow, but I hope I do. Nos4R2 is such a it's such a scary book. Joe Hill is amazing at storytelling. I can't believe how engaging this book is so far. And all I've been doing while listening to this book, like the entire time, is screaming in my car. Not out of horror, but just like everything. Like, for instance, if you've read Nos4R2, you know all about the Wraith. And I am currently at a part where it's important to take down the Wraith. And Vic isn't doing it, and it's making me crazy. And so I'm screaming, "Get the Wraith! Get the Wraith!" in my car. And I'm sure if my windows were down, people would think I was nuts. But I'm absolutely loving it. Hopefully tomorrow I have it finished. I know this is only the second update, and that's just because I do listen to it in the car. And so during our Christmas break, I didn't drive anywhere, and so I wasn't listening to it. So it has taken me a long time to read this book, but it was definitely worth it. And I'm really excited that I own not the physical copy. I own the book on my Kindle. So I would actually like to reread this book at some point in time. It is so good. If you have not picked up Nos4R2, I would. I know a few people from BookTube have said that they had a problem with it. And I can't for the life of me remember what was, well, I don't know. I know some people said that they were offended by the book. And there are, I mean, the bad guy is like a child killer. So yeah, that would be offensive. But it's, I don't know. You're just going to have to read it yourself and find out if you like it or not. And that's all of the vlogging for Nos4R2. I really wish I would have made more vlogs for this book, because it did take me a really long time to read, and I really did enjoy this book. I did give it 5 stars. It was absolutely amazing. There are 3 main POVs and 3 minor characters, but they also have a POV in the story as well. I will go through all 6 characters. Remember that this was from an audiobook, so I don't know exactly how it's written in the physical form. I do want to purchase the book at some point in time though. So the main character is Victoria McQueen, and then there's the two bad guys, Charlie Manx and Bing Partridge. And Victoria has a boyfriend named Lou Carmody, and then they have a son, Bruce Wayne. And Victoria meets a woman when she's younger, Maggie Lee. So those are the 6 characters of the book. How do they all pertain to each other? Well, Victoria is the pin in this whole shebang. She holds all these people together. So Victoria, when she's little, which is the beginning of the book, she's about 12, I think. Her dad buys her a Raleigh bicycle for her birthday, and on a, accidentally she goes into the woods and she rides along this wooden bridge called the Shorter Way Bridge. And when she reaches the other side, she realizes she's in a different state, like a different city and everything else, and she kind of freaks out and then figures out, oh my gosh, I wanted to find something and now I'm here. And so throughout the book she realizes that she can think really hard about what she wants to find if something is lost, and the shorter way will appear and she can ride her bike across this imaginary bridge. The entire time she's a child, she takes it for granted, because by the time she's an adult she realizes that it can't be real. She must be crazy, thinking that her whole life she's been totally bonkers and that the shorter way is not real and her bike travels were fake and made up. And so she resents her parents for bringing her up with this terrible life. And, if she didn't grow up in such a bad atmosphere, then she wouldn't have had to create this fantasy world. So that is very fascinating. I absolutely love that part. The thing that's sad is Vicky goes from, a child and totally believing in this bridge to an adult saying that must have been her imagination as a coping mechanism, which that just goes along with Joe Hill's father's kinds of things that he talks about in his books about how children aren't always believed when they say things, and how when you're younger you have a very strong imagination, and as you get to be an adult, reality hurts that imagination and it crushes any kind of dreaming, and then all we have is just like the worry of being an adult in everyday life. So Vicky has to deal with that as an adult. She realizes, oh, the shorter way could not possibly be real because things like that don't exist. And then we meet Charlie Manx and Bing Partridge. Those are the two bad guys in the book, and they are despicable. Charlie Manx has something kind of like the Raleigh and the Shorter Way Bridge, but he has a Rolls Royce, what is it? Not a Phantom. It's the Wraith. And this is a 1930s vehicle. They only they only made so many of these cars, and Charlie Manx is in possession of one of these vehicles. And with this car, Charlie can go through a mindscape and reach Christmas land. And in Christmas land, every day is Christmas, and all the children there are happy, and they can have open presents every day and drink hot cocoa and eat cotton candy, and everything is amazing all the time. And Charlie wants to bring as many children to Christmas land as possible. I absolutely despised Charlie Manx. I thought he was a despicable person, and the fact that he thought he was doing good the whole time was super creepy. And then of course there's Bing Partridge, who is the other bad guy in the book, who kind of clings to Charlie Manx as his savior, because all his life he has always been a child in his mind, but of course an adult in real life. So he does adult things, but childishly he wants to stay a kid. So those are the three main characters. At some point in time in the book, Victoria bumps into Lou Carmody. They become a couple, and then they have Bruce Wayne, which Vicky really needs to protect in the book. And then we have Maggie Lee, who kind of has the same thing with the bike and the bridge and the car in Christmasland. She has her Scrabble tiles and an ancient like velvet bag. So Maggie Lee can stick her hand into this endless bag of tiles, of Scrabble tiles, and when she throws them down, she can create words out of them and not predict, but like see the future, and she can kind of ask questions and have those tiles answer them. So those three people have this special ability, and then everything comes together throughout the book. I love Joe Hill's writing. It's so reminiscent of his father and yet so him. This is the second book that I have read by Joe Hill, and I definitely will not have this be the last book. I definitely want to pick up his other ones. I do have Heart-Shaped Box on my Kindle, and I want to pick up Thumbprint at some point in time. I have a piece of hair. I just love their writing. It's so creepy and disgusting and perfect, and I just loved it. Now for triggers, because this is a horror book and an adult novel, Bing Partridge is pretty ruthless when it comes to adults, and so if you don't want to read about like women being hurt by a man, then you won't want to read this book. But he doesn't just hurt men, women, he hurts men too. And so it's kind of graphic. There is a lot of cussing in it. And there's mental illness in this book, and alcoholism and drug use, and I think that's it. I mean, if I had to say the worst character of the story, it would be Bing Partridge. Charlie Manx is the monster, but his way of doing things is way less crude than Bing's is. So you will be able to tell right off the bat in like one of the first chapters that you read about Bing. When you read his voice, if you don't like Bing, then you won't like the rest of the book, because he does show up a lot, and he is kind of gross. But other than that, there's no, like, even though this is a horror book about children, there's no child hurting in any way. And yeah, that is it. I hope you liked this review vlog style about Nos4R2. Again, it's an adult horror novel, so if you like that, definitely check it out. And if you like Stephen King, you will definitely like this book. I really enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys have a wonderful week, and I will talk to you soon. Bye!